Our beginning drill for Kazushi is really simple. We start on our knees, and each of the students reach across and grab the opposite shoulder. The opposite hand is brought to the opponent's elbow. At this point, what's going to take place is Miss Bella is going to push forward with her left hand, pulling down with her right hand, twisting the body to the ground, finishing in side control. If Mr. Braden did that, it would look like this. Let's see it one more time. So the important part is to make sure that the shoulders rotate and you drive the opponent to the ground. Defending a standing headlock is done when the opponent grabs you unknowingly. As soon as you notice the headlock, you must cup your chin with your hand, doing a groin strike simultaneously. From that point, our hand reaches and grabs the arm around our neck, pulling it to our chest. We then raise up, placing our hand on our own head, continuing to pull the arm towards our chest, and then ducking underneath, placing our hand on the back and putting our opponent in a Kimura, driving them forward to the ground. Done full out, it looks something like this. This technique is done on both sides. Defending the clinch 3 ways. The first technique on this defense is when the opponent grabs the student in a good solid clinch. The student then posts both hands on the hips, creating space, and then cross posts, protecting from knees. From there, they bring the other hand across the face or neck, framing and creating more space in order to allow the other hand to slide inside and reverse the clinch. The second technique is done from the full clinch, again posting on the hips, creating space, and cross posting. From there, we pop the elbow, bringing the head directly behind the shoulder in close contact, grabbing around the opponent and setting up for a takedown. The third clinch technique is done by posting both hands on the hips, dropping and popping both elbows at the same time into a good takedown position. That would be a double leg takedown. The back roll is first performed by bringing our ear to our shoulder. From there, we bring our knees, both knees, across the opposite shoulder, rolling on the shoulder, trying to keep our head off the ground the whole time. Done at full speed, this is what it looks like. If Mr. Ricky turns around and performs the technique going backwards, this was what you would see. Our basic grappling includes 4 positions. The first one is the mount, where the top opponent is sitting on the hips of the lower opponent, knees tight to the body in an upright position. The second position is what we call side control. Side control is when the person in the top position has their knees against the opponent's body at the hip and the shoulder, having one arm wrapped around the head and the other elbow down on the mat with their head down. The third position is what we call guard. Guard is attained when the lower person has their legs wrapped around the opponent and the upper opponent is in an upright position with their hands on the opponent's hips. From there, we move to the back position. The back position requires the person on the back to have their feet locked around the opponent with what we call hooks. Their hands are placed across the body in what we call a seat belt, and the head is tight to their opponent's head. The shrimp escape from side control begins by having good frames across the upper person's body. From there, we bump up and shrimp out. We bring our lower knee across the body, then extending the body, holding on to the opponent that is in the guard, bringing our legs around and completing the technique. The bump and roll technique is done when the person on the bottom has to address the person on mount. They reach across both wrists, grabbing the opposite wrist. The other hand is used to bend the elbow and their body posture down. From there, we hook the opponent's foot with our foot, raising our hips as high as we can and then rolling. From there, we finish in an upright position with our hands on the opponent's belt.